Episode 2. The Whisper in the Rain continues. The rain fell harder as Mary stumbled down the flooded street, gasping for breath. Her soaked clothes clung to her skin as she clutched the journal to her chest. The figure's words echoed in her mind. You took what was never yours. She stopped under a flickering street lamp, its light struggling against the storm. Her hands trembled as she opened the journal again. The pages had dried, but the ink was gone, replaced by faint impressions of new words forming, "Return it, or they will come." "Return it?" she whispered aloud. "Return it where?" The whisper returned, faint and distant. "Carried by the wind, the place you fear the most." Mary's heart sank. She knew exactly what that meant. The abandoned manor on Hollow Hill, a place everyone in town avoided. It had been empty for decades, rumored to be cursed. It was where her nightmares often began, and now it seemed where they would end. Thunder cracked above as she pushed forward, her steps heavy against the rushing water. The town's familiar streets faded, replaced by dense woods. The path to the manor was overgrown, the trees arching overhead like skeletal hands. The whisper grew louder as she approached. Now overlapping voices, murmuring warnings she couldn't decipher. The manor stood tall against the storm, its windows dark and lifeless. The front door creaked open as she neared, as if inviting her inside. Her hands trembled as she stepped into the foyer, the storm's howl muffled by the heavy walls. Dust coated every surface and the air was thick with decay. The journal grew warm in her hands, its glow faint but steady. "Where do I take this?" she demanded, her voice echoing in the empty space. The whisper stopped, replaced by a deep, resonant thud coming from upstairs. Reluctantly, she climbed the winding staircase, her footsteps stirring clouds of dust. The journal grew warmer with each step. At the top of the stairs, a door stood slightly ajar, revealing faint light inside. She pushed it open and froze. The room was a library, its shelves lined with books that seemed to hum faintly. In the center of the room was a desk, and on it lay another journal identical to hers. The whispers returned, urgent and pleading. "Leave it and go." Mary placed the journal on the desk, but as she turned to leave, the door slammed shut. The light flickered as the books began to shake violently on their shelves. What has Mary unleashed, and can she escape the horrors of Hollow Hill? Episode 3 coming soon? You shouldn't have come. A deep voice growled behind her. She spun around to see the figure standing in the corner, its glowing eyes burning like fire. Before she could scream, the journal on the desk burst into flames, and the room was plunged into darkness. What has Mary unleashed, and can she escape the horrors of Hollow Hill? Episode 3 coming soon.